The final race of the day, and something to gladden James Whittam's heart. A whole pall of two-stroke smoke billows out above the starting straight here at Cadwell Park.
And you're right, it does.
To remind him of the good old days. Well, it's this, of course, of a mix of 125 GP two-strokers and the Monster Energy British Motostar Moto 3 category, which involves 250cc, four strokes. Four strokes, you see, they'll have to be given a capacity advantage to hold their own against those wonderful little two-strokers. Joe Francis leads the Motostar Moto 3 Championship on 142 points. It's a narrow lead of 11 points over Taron McKenzie's Red Line KTM, with Joe Irving on the Toad and Tatey Pub KTM running in third place ahead of Hobson's Honda. Then Sam Berman, the lovely lady, in fifth place, just 7 points adrift, with Jordan Weaving in sixth ahead of Taylor and Simpson. The 125 GP point standings after 7 of 12 races. Tom Kahn on 131 points has a handsome lead over Arnie Shelton in second, with Peter Sutherland, the Scottish boy, in third place on the Aprilia ahead of Ed Rendell, Callum Bay, Stephanie Wadlow, Bradley Ray and Elliot Lodge. And this is how we line up on the... I almost said the rostrum. We've got that to come. On the grid, we've got Andy Reid, would you believe, making his return to this class, riding the RS Racing Honda. The Ulsterman puts himself on pole position ahead of the WD-40 Honda of Joe Francis and the Banks Racing Honda of Ed Rendell, who has suffered injury here before at Cadwell Park. Taron McKenzie's Red Line KTM heads up row 2 ahead of the E3 Motorsport Honda of Arnie Shelton and the TC Racing SP125 Honda of Tom Kahn. Kinpack Racing Floor Coat UK Aprilia, Peter Sutherland on row 3, with the RS Racing Toad and Tatey Pub KTM of Joe Irving and the RCD Motorsport Honda of Callum Bay. And on the fourth row, FPW Racing Lighton Honda's Taz Taylor, Molly JVR Racing Honda, veteran in his 40s now, of John Boy Vincent. And then the FPW Racing Lighton Honda of the lad who came to tell me that I've been saying his name wrong, Milo Ward. 15-year-old Milo Ward from Wellingborough is there on the fourth row of the grid. They, of course, he and Taz Taylor riding for the team that won the championship in the hands of Luke Hedger last year. So distinctive kind of Norwich City colour scheme that they have. And here are the boys lined up on the grid. There are 24 of them all told. The lights go, and cross comes, wow, what a great start by Andy Reid.
Yeah. The
pole centre just jetted across to the front and blocked the rest off.
Taron McKenzie on the KTM, Reid on a two-stroke, and Taron on the Moto 3 four-stroke. He's slotted into second now as Taron.
That's what comes of weighing about as much as a damp flannel, isn't it? Oh dear, he ran wide coming out of... Oh, and we've lost someone already. And that might be Bayford who's gone down. So Andy Reid, Joe Francis, Joe Irving, Tom Kahn. Look how much time Taron McKenzie cost himself then. Back to 7th place in front of Peter Sutherland, his fellow Scot.
And he's done it again. He's run wide and lost another place as well at Park Corner.
So little Taron, who benefited, what I was going to say was he weighs about as much as a damp flannel, so the bike just takes off.
I've got to be honest, you know, I think what he's suffering from... Oh, and look, I don't know if something went wrong with... as Joe Francis sweeps round Andy Reid, I don't know if something went wrong with Reid's two-stroke RS Honda out of the gooseneck, because it looked so easy then for Francis to get past him.
So Joe Francis now leads the way. He's looking to, of course, to make it a double for WD-40 after Tommy Aquino's brilliant victory in the Superstock 1000 race earlier this afternoon. Yeah. But the battle on at the front. Yeah, we're talking about Taron McKenzie, who's now down in about 5th or 6th, making a few mistakes, and he's got very few laps in round here. He arrived from his Red Bull rookie out into 15th at Brno, the GP. His dad bundled him into a van. They drove all the way back. When the van arrived yesterday morning, he jumped out of the van in his leathers and helmet, signed on, and the bike had been scrutinised. He jumped on it as the gates up to go out into the track for qualifying. That is an extraordinary story, even by the standards of you guys and what you do to get out on track. Incidentally, Joe Francis at the front. Jeff Crust was telling me last night that Joe Francis there, who's quite a tall lad now, the Cheshire boy, he's about 5'10", he actually... Oh, and he's been overtaken by the equally tall Andy Reid. Now, that's impressive speed from the... Oh, no, hang on. Here it comes.
He's gone in quick, though. He's gone in quick as Joe Francis. That'll work. He's good on the brakes, he's Joe Francis. To take so much out of Sunday, as good as Andy Reid, at least.
Joe Francis and his WD-40 bike, man and bike, they weigh 10 kilograms more than Taron McKenzie, who's just got flicked into the air, somehow clung onto the red line KTM. Oh. And what a dramatic opening couple of laps Taron's happening. He probably wishing his dad had left him at Brunel for a rest.
Leave him in the van. Here we go, this is it. Look in the back of the shot. Oh! That was as near to having a big crash as what you get without having one.
That was a save and a half, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll explain that. It's 136 kilos for the two strokes, and that includes the bike, the rider, the gear, the fuel and everything else. That's the lower limit. And the four strokes, it's 148 kilos.
That's right. Joe Francis and his bike are 158 kilos. That's, they can't get any lower than that.
That's heavy bike.
Look at that! Look at that! Absolutely. You know, I'd forgotten how aggressive Andy Reid was. He's impressive, isn't he, the lad from Jordanstown?
We've seen that a couple of times before in his previous incarnation in a British 125 GP, that he has been, he's got a bit of form, shall we say.
He has, and we should never forget that. And here, look at that. Joe Francis swoops alongside him, and the young Cheshire boy makes his move back to the front.
Yeah, don't forget, it always looks like the bike that's overtaking is a lot quicker. And you think, oh, that's not fair. But what's actually happening is, if you get a good drive out of the previous corner and get in the slipstream, it makes such difference on these things. You know, the slipstream makes the difference. It's not that one bike's more powerful than the other. The four strokes tend to have a bigger spread of power, but no more overall power. The two strokes have probably one or two more brake horsepower at the top, but it squeezed into less revs.
And the four strokes have visibly wider frontal area, don't they? Look at that. That's that sweet little number 67 machine of Andy Reid's there. Skinny little thing.
Yeah, and you know the thing is, you were saying that Joe Francis and his bike weigh 10 kilos more than the limit. Well, the other biggest rider on the grid is possibly Andy Reid.
Yes.
The lad's, I won't say put weight on, he's not, he's a fit lad, but he's not a slight, small lad like a lot of these kids are in 125.
He looks like a gangling giant on that Ryan Saxelby bike, doesn't he, right now? There they go, diving through Barn. Behind them, the battle is on between Ed Rendell now through ahead of Joe Irving. There's Taron McKenzie, chased by Tom Kahn and Arnie Shelton. Peter Sutherland 8th.
Yep, Ryan Saxelby running from Penistone up there near Sheffield. He's running two bikes. That one there we just saw, number 66, Joe Irving. That's the four-stroke KTM. He's also running the leader, or second place man now, of Andy Reid. But that's a two-stroke 125 Honda.
That yellow Banks Racing Honda of Ed Rendell is involved in a big scrap as once again at the front. They're side by side down the Park Straight on the 4th of 12 laps.
And you've got to say that that was going to go to Joe Francis if we've seen, if he can do every lap what we've seen before him done there, because he's just so good on the brakes. It's unusual to see somebody in a class at this level, British Championship level, be so much better in one area or the other, you know.
They really rate him in the WD awning, the guys there running that team, because he's in the same awning as Aquino and those boys, and they rate him highly.
I'll tell you who else rates him highly is Roger Marshall, former 9 times a British Championship winner going back to the 70s and 80s, and he's no mug. He can spot a bit of talent, can Reg.
Reg.
And he can drink a pint in about 4 seconds as well. Sorry, Reg.
And this is a sweet battle going on at the front then between number 40 Joe Francis and Andy Reid, who's his career is just kind of dipped in and out. I'm not even quite sure what he's been up to for the last 18 months.
I don't think he's been doing a lot of racing. I know Ryan Saxelby said that when Kat Green hurt herself at Alton, the bike came available, offered it one or two people, scratched around and said he didn't really know what to put on it. And then Andy Reid's sort of name popped in and I thought, oh, I wonder what he's doing. Give him a ring. He was doing not a lot. And to be fair, Ryan Saxelby absolutely knew, unless the lad had put 20 stone on and forgotten about racing, that he would be able to go quick. He rated him.
Well, he's certainly repaying that faith, isn't it? Look at them, absolutely cheek and jowl down the Park Straight. Has the Saxelby two-stroke not quite got the breeze to get past there as they drop into Park Corner?
Or is Andy Reid being a bit canny and just not going past in a place where he feels he can with the slipstream and on the brakes on the last lap, maybe? I mean, it looks to me like he's looking at getting to the front of it.
Yes,
to be quite
that was
honest.
certainly a bit of a squeeze coming out of Chris Curve. And down the hill, Joe Irving has broken clear in third place ahead of Ed Rendell, with Taron McKenzie fifth, Tom Kahn sixth.
Sometimes when you're in a bit of a fencing match like these two are, you don't really want to show your hand too early. You don't want to pass the guy that you're racing with several times in the place that you intend to pass on the last lap. You know, if you can stay with them and show your wheel somewhere else, you'll save it up. You keep that card up your sleeve. Ooh, take that.
Well, yes, we were saying that Andy Reid has he certainly caused one or two mishaps in the past, shall we say?
Yeah, they did well to get away with that being not quite a bit more serious there into the top of the mountain section towards Hall Bend. There's only one line through there. If two riders going side by side, only one of them's coming out with a shirt on anyway. Ooh.
Wow.
I don't think Joe Francis will be too concerned. I think you'll see him getting in the slipstream of Andy Reid onto the straight. Look, right in the slipstream, backside off the seat and onto the hump of the seat. Some riders think that makes the bike go a little bit quicker, better slipstream around the back of the bike. Watch this. Francis will be good on the brakes. Reid, oh, yeah. Bit of defending going on from Reid there.
Andy Reid, who's we knew that he'd produce a scrap starting off pole position, and Joe Francis, of course, one of those sweet-natured young men who obviously sprouts a couple of horns when he gets out on track, and he looks like he's willing to give and take with the aggressive Irishman.
Just watch that. Reid now knows where Francis, because he's followed him for a bit, is quick, and he knows he's quick into Park, and he knows he's quick into Mansfield. See how he just flicks across to the inside and then flicks to the outside to get the right line into the corner, and that's just upsetting Francis a little bit, because Francis is setting up to go up the inside, and then he finds a bike going across in front of him and then back again.
We're on the 6th of 12 laps in this, and yet another mega race here on Cadwell Park. This, of course, the Monster Energy Motostar Championship race. And at the moment, on the 6th of 12 laps, almost half distance, and just a breakaway for Andy Reid there. Yeah,
and do you know, just because there is two championships going on here, Reid is obviously in the 125 GP and Francis in the Moto3 Championship. They're not really racing for the same championship, however, they both want to win.
And Taron McKenzie's now broken through past number 12, Ed Rendell. So McKenzie is in pursuit of the other KTM there just in front of him, the black, white and orange one of Joe Irving.
Irving's having a bit of a lonely race. Irving tends to be at his best when he's got somebody to sort of race with and dice with and follow, and he's going to have somebody in a minute to do that with.
So the two Austrian-built KTMs, they started off, of course, as great motocross weapons, and they start running. In fact, they won their first motocross world championship back in 1974, would you believe? And they've been winning off and on ever since. In fact, they've just clinched yet another double in the motocross world championship this year.
Yeah, you'll see that the KTMs well, particularly we're looking at Taron McKenzie and Joe Irving. Although they're a lot more modern design bike than the Hondas, it's all pretty traditional stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, I told you, I said that Francis wouldn't have worried too much.
But he's got back to the front.
I reckon they've done that at the end of Park Straight into Park Corner. And we want to see Reid doing the same thing again. Yep, we are.
Whoop.
What I was saying is the KTM isn't that trick. It's quite a traditional kind of design. You know, it's aluminium swing arm, but it's steel trellis frame. It's not an aluminium beam frame. It's not a stressed airbox design. It's not a monocoque. It's very traditional in its makeup. It's just well put together.
All their equipment usually has been, because they've moved into road bikes with appreciable success, haven't they, as well as into road racing.
They've got what they've been really good at with the road bikes of KTM is not trying to compete with the Japanese and with BM producing big, huge power sports bikes. They've got little niche bikes, little road kind of legal supermoto things that are good fun to nip to the shops on and stuff, and that's where they've gained, I think. That's where they sell a lot.
Here comes the number 40, that sparkling blue and yellow WD-40 Honda launches back to the front ahead of Ryan Saxelby's machine, handled with aplomb, if that's the right word, by Andy Reid.
Yeah, Ryan Sachs will be tuned two strokes, has done for a few years since he raced in this class. Always had quick bikes. When he raced himself, he tuned his own bikes and was quick. But now moving into that four-stroke, that sort of more forward-thinking kind of thing. You know, a lot of tuners who was good at two strokes didn't move on when four strokes came in. Ryan is doing now. He's tuning that KTM of Joe Irvin's and doing a good job of that as well.
Joe Francis, his best result last year on his way to 5th in the championship was 2nd here at Cadwell. He obviously likes this place.
Yeah, he's won other places. Yeah, he's won other places though. I mean, he's won at Oulton Park and Snetterton this year. He's no mug. He's come of age a little bit this year.
Very cautious over the lip of the mountain.
Yeah, really.
That's what gives Andy Reid his chance.
Correct, and I think that Joe Francis is better on the brakes, and I think that Reid is better at muscling the bike around, chucking it around, and getting it sort of into the more sort of squirmy bits of this track, you know. And especially the mountain.
Dropping down then, completing 2/3 race distance, 8 laps complete out of 12. And the battle rages on and on between Andy Reid even and Joe Francis. Joe Irving and Taron McKenzie going hammer and tongs for 3rd place. Ed Rendell a more isolated 5th now ahead of Tom Kahn versus Peter Sutherland.
Yeah, there's loads of sort of interesting stuff going on here. The way they ride is completely different. The bikes are completely different. And you said that a 1.25 two-stroke is on a par with the 254 stroke. The reason is it's not magic. The fact is that a two-stroke fires every time the piston comes to the top, and a four-stroke fires twice the piston comes to the top. So really they are on a par, because although you've got twice the CCs, it's firing half as often.
I've never heard it put like that before.
I haven't. I made it up as I went along. It is true. It got a bit involved when we did that.
Ooh, steady on, boys. Wow.
That's Taron and Joe Irving. Taron McKenzie, yeah. Joe Irving. Taron's having a go. It's a difficult place to pass. I'm just wondering if McKenzie's fairings got damaged.
When we first saw him come up behind Irving, I said to you, it looks awfully low.
It is low, and I
almost said to you, whoa, a mistake by Irving. Taron's through.
Yeah. And
so is Ed Rendell.
Because that'll have happened in that hideous near high side at the gooseneck, and the fairings drop down. If you look at the other side, what must have been putting Taron off, and he's got used to, is the fact it's scraping every right-hander. The thing's on the floor. Look, he's got a big hole in the side, the right-hand side. It's the right-hand side that's broken. It's dropped down on the right-hand side, not the left. And he's learning to cope with it. See how the back of the left has even scraped as well. But it's the right that's scraping worse. When we get a good shot, I'll tell you, he's definitely dropped down. The bracket's broken.
Look at that, it looks completely boss-eyed.
The problem with that is, you know, if it had been the left-hand side, you can hold it up and try and fix it or get it out of the way, but the right-hand side, you can't, because you've got to let go of the throttle to do that, and it really doesn't want to let go of the throttle anyway. Yeah, it's completely dragging on the floor. That'll put him off, but you kind of get used to it. Oh, come on, Taron. Hold it together, lad. Back at the front.
Taron McKenzie leads the trailing pack then. This is what's happening at the front. They're about 8.8 seconds clear, and they're having an absolute bare fist knuckle fight here. Andy Reid and Joe Francis.
Yeah. And it's boiling up because there's 2 laps left after this one. Andy Reid is not going to want to give this up. I know what kind of lad he is. And, I mean, Francis is the same, except a bit more quiet, determined, if you know what I mean. Whereas Reid is a bit more openly aggressive at what he's trying to do.
Number 40, Joe Francis, the 2009 British GP 50 champion, the national GP 50 NPS champion, and cautious
clean,
again over the mountain.
Yeah, that was a clean move by Reid. He knows where he's quicker, that's what it is.
Yeah. And that's going to mean that Andy Reid's going to take victory here, because he can pull that move every lap.
Yeah. This is a McKenzie wobble. He's dropped off the end of the curb. Now, whether that's because the fairing's scraping in the middle of the corner, so he has to run wide, because if he leaned over any more in the middle of the corner, it'd lift the wheels off. But he's certainly dragging everywhere, is that fairing now.
Tiny figure of Taron McKenzie just absolutely right in behind the equally small fairing as the Toad and Tatey.
Look at the hole. Look at the hole as we went round Coppice. There's a huge hole in the front bottom of that fairing of McKenzie's. Reid still leads. I don't think that
Francis can't get him on that lap, and this is the penultimate lap of the 12. Side by side, the 2 KTMs. Oh, and rushed through there. Joe Irving makes it through past Taron McKenzie back into 3rd place.
Yeah, it's taken him a while just to get back on his feet after that big incident at the chicane a couple of laps ago.
Ooh. And Taron is trying to tuck underneath as they drop down to the gooseneck. And just turned 17, incidentally, has Joe Irving on the 6th of this month. Meanwhile, number 67, Andy Reid, still trying to bring home the spoils for Ryan Saxelby. Oh, Mackenzie's off.
Mackenzie off. Oh.
Well, at least he's in one piece, bless him. What a fine attempt.
So look what happened.
Oh, it's here. Oh, Taron. Good Lord.
Well, I'll tell you what. He's done well to get away with that. I tell you, there's nothing wrong with his integrity in his body. That he bounces really well, does the lad.
Oh, he's beginning to have second thoughts about it, James.
Poor lad.
Wow.
Unbelievable. What a weekend he's had.
Yeah, wasn't he just? So on the final lap, Andy Reid looks as if he might do well. What happened a year ago, James? That Ryan Saxelby bike, that very one, was brought to a historic victory by Catherine Green. The first time a lady won at a British Championship round. And here we have possibly Andy Reid on his return to competition this season.
I don't know.
Replacing Cat Green. Could he bring the checkered flag Ryan Saxelby's way once again? Well, through goes Joe Irving, but you know what Andy's thinking. He's thinking, well, I'm quicker than him over the mountain. Oh, but
he's got him again. He's got him into Chris's. And he has been quicker, but he's gone wide, and up the inside goes Joe Francis. Right, here we go. What's he got left now? Reid has got about 3 chances. This is one of the chances, and it isn't going to work.
No, he is quicker over the mountain. Joe Francis
knows that.
Yeah, but what can he do about it?
I don't know.
He slumbers over the mountaintop every lap.
You'll be trying to do something, and it relies on the fact that Reid has to be perfectly set up for it.
OK, well, let's see what happens. He's taking a narrow route into the left-hander at the bottom. Now, this is the point where Andy Reid will be sure that he can get the drive over the top.
And he can.
He comes over the right-hand side. He gets the drive once again. Yep. Whisks past Joe Francis and once again takes the lead.
Joe Francis isn't as strong through this woodland section. Can he go up the inside of the air?
He can.
He's tried.
Oh,
what a move. He's not away with it yet, though.
Oh, good Lord, absolutely nip and tuck. He's going down the right hand at the outside and barn, and it's all then together. Oh, they're elbowing one another, kneeing one another across the line, and I think Francis got it. Francis got it by 200ths of a second from Andy Reid. What a race.
What a race.
What a race. What a climax. And Andy Reid did everything he could at the most unlikely places to overtake.
Absolutely. You knew he would. You just knew he would. Reid is exactly like that. You knew he'd have a go.
Oh, that was a good race.
You know...
when you've got legs that long, use the knees, lad.
Did you see him trying to stick his knee in the fair in there? Look, here we go. This is through the... I didn't think Francis had an answer now, but he's gone up the inside of the hairpin. Perfect. Reid didn't expect it. Watch this. Reid gets a good run out of the hairpin. Round bound side by side. Reid gets a little bit better drive onto the straight. Watch his knees. Watch his knees.
Get out of my way, son. What a climax to the afternoon, boys. Well done. And Joe Francis, well, would you believe it? Joe Francis takes victory then for the WD4 team. He's affectionately nicknamed Flipper. Well, Joe Flipper Francis, well, he's put one over Andy Reid, but that was a race and a half. Joe Irving, incidentally, got 3rd place. Ed Rendell 4th. Tom Kahn 5th, ahead of Peter Sutherland. That was a race-long battle. Callum Bay 7th. Taz Taylor 8th, ahead of Lodge in 9th. And Stephanie Wadlow gets into the top 10. Great ride from Steph Wadlow. She gets 10th place, ahead of John Boy Vincent, with Costilla, Hobson, Ward and Uri rounding out the top 15. But what a ride there. What a race between Joe Francis and Andy Reid. Joe Francis accepts the plaudits of the crowd. Well earned. That's only his 3rd victory of the season. He was victorious at Alton Park and victorious again at Brands Hatch. So, finishing off on his... Oh. Those guys were pushing. That was great. Those skinny little tyres are amazing at gripping the tarmac,
they're not trying to kind of hold as much weight or power. And the narrower your tyres, the better the bike will handle. But the big bikes have to have big white tyres to cope with that power and weight.
And you can see how Joe Francis, the one thing he doesn't really have sorted out, James, is the mountain. He doesn't like to leave the ground at all. So, as the sun-blessed crowds prepare to depart here from Cadwell Park, It's Joe Francis who takes the narrowest of victories on his Moto 3 WD-40 Honda from Andy Reid on the 125 GP Ryan Saxelby Honda. Joe Irving on the Toad and Tatey Pub KTM takes third place. Ed Rendell is fourth ahead of Tom Kahn, the leader of the 125 GP Championship. Peter Sutherland's Aprilia sixth ahead of Callum Bay. Taz Taylor's Luyton Honda. Elliot Lodge and Steph Wadlow, a brilliant 10th place for her, ahead of John Boy Vincent with Costilla even. Hobson on the Moto 3 Honda. Milo Ward on the second of the Luyton Hondas, and Jason Uribe rounding out the point scorers ahead of Taylor, Vernon, Booth Amos, Sam Berman, the second of the lasses in the race, and the unfortunate Taz McKenzie is credited with 20th place. The Moto3 standings after that race, it will be an increase, of course, in the lead of Joe Francis, because he only had 11 points advantage over Taz McKenzie, but Taz crashed and stays on 131. He's now second, but only 1 point clear of Joe Irving, with Hobson in fourth place. Sam Berman is an excellent fifth ahead of Jordan Weaving, Taylor, Simpson, Booth, Amos and Waring. Plenty of highlights in the Motostar Monster Energy Championship. Great start by Joe Irving on that extremely rapid KTM, but he makes an early mistake and gets shunted back into the pack. And at the front, the pole setter Andy Reid on the Ryan Saxelby Honda. He leads the way sweetly for a while. A huge moment though for Taz McKenzie, cuts him a bit of time. We lose an early faller, throwing up his arms in despair. We also have someone going grass tracking down. That's not the quick way down the park straight. Andy Reid at this point had pulled a bit of an advantage over Joe Francis, leaving the rest of them to scrap amongst themselves. Well, Joe Francis closed the gap and made that sweeping, imperious move around the outside into Mansfield. Meanwhile, a massive moment for the second time for Taz McKenzie, and already that fairing is beginning to look a bit suspiciously loose. I think somebody actually flew off it when he had that moment, and that was probably the fastening that was holding it on. Andy Reid started getting pugnacious on the way into Hall Bend, swept aside the WD-40 Honda, and then the Toad and Tatey Pub rider Joe Irving got his KTM in the mix with Taz McKenzie. Made that mistake, that gave Ed Rendell his chance, and then a huge high side with 2 laps to go vaulted Taz McKenzie into temporary oblivion, and that meant that he was out of the race. Meanwhile, into the hairpin on the final lap, a great move by Joe Francis, but Andy Reid was having none of it. He got the Ryan Saxelby Honda round the outside, gunned it for the line, tried to knee his rival out of the way, and finally fell short by a tantalising 0.02 of a second. What a great race. Joe Francis then the winner and the leader of the championship.
Well, Joe Irving was telling me just now that he could hear Taron McKenzie's crash behind him, but you did yourself a world of pain, really, with your qualifying performance, but you managed to scrap your way through to another fine podium finish. Yeah, I'm really glad I got a podium, second especially today. Third would have been probably quite easy with the 3 front-running Moto 3s, but when I heard a big crash behind me, I didn't know what had happened, whether Ed or Taz had gone down. Tried looking for my pit board in complete chaos. I couldn't see a thing. So I had to have a look on the last lap, put my fastest first sector in and look behind me to see there was no one there. So I backed off a bit and just tried to bring it home. Brilliant, great result for you, great race as well. We'll let you go to the podium. Well done. I'd just like to thank all my sponsors, Allsops Engineering, Dunsley Heat, Shark Helmets, Puteline Oils and everyone at the Toad and Tatey Pub. Brilliant, well done. We'll let you go off you go to the podium. It's a great result for him. Let's get a second place finisher up here now. 0.02 of a second across the line. Tell us how the race was from your point of view, because it had a bit of everything in there and real drama right up to the end. Yeah, it was good. I mean, I got away at the start and I tried to control the race as much as I could. And I knew there were some sectors that Joe was quicker than me in. But I was a lot stronger in the last sector, and I sort of knew I had the edge in the end. But I just left the door open on the last, coming into the hairpin. He just felt the front wheel, and I thought, no, I'm going to tuck the front if I try and lean on him. So just thought it'd be a fair battle to the line, and then just tried to get the power down as much as I could coming out of the last turn, but it just wasn't enough. You know? It was superb racing, and it's nice to see such fair, strong moves as well. Was the knee in the fairing the game plan at the end? You have to do anything you can to win, you know, but it's, I probably would have won it if I kept my knees in, you know, for flip's sake. But no, I'd just like to say a big thank you to Carbon Works, Tony Morris, Jeff Hankin, Ryan Saxelby for sorting me out with the bike, and just everyone that's helped me get me here, you know. Brilliant, well done. Well, there goes to the podium. Well done, Andy. Andy Reid, second place finishing now, race winner Joe Francis. I have to ask you the same question. Did you have the game plan right to the end? Did you know you could do him into the final chicane?
No, because every lap I was ahead over the mountain, and he kept on getting over the top. He was just, because Andy used to do marathon, he's so good over the mountain, I just couldn't compete with him over there. And then that last lap I just tried to stick with him through Hull Bends, which for every lap I didn't manage to, and I saw a gap, I went for it. He just got closer, and we touched a little bit, and then it was a great race.
Touched a little bit? He had his knee up your armpit?
No, it was all right.
So you think it was all fair and above board? It certainly looked like it from our point of view, and the two of you seem to be quite happy with each other on the slow-down lap as well. Yeah,
it was a great race, fair, clean moves. Andy rode mega, no dirty moves, awesome race.
Fast as well. We're looking forward to the next round now.
Yeah, can't wait for Donington's to see how we go.
Brilliant, good to see WD-40 up there again. Off you go to the podium. Well done, Joe.
Just like to say a massive thank you to WD-40, Bennett's Insurance, Stouff, Newt's Oils, Tilted Barrel Pub, Roger Marshall, everyone who supported me at Cadwell here today. Thank you very much.
Very well done. Off you go to the podium. So Joe will make his way up to the podium. Wonder if there's any knee bashing going on up on the podium. Let's go over to Jack to find out.
Here are the 125 Motostar Championship standings. Tom Kahn has increased his lead to 45 points over Peter Sutherland. Arnie Shelton runs in third place, level with Ed Rendell after Rendell's excellent race there. He just avoided the tumbling Taron McKenzie. Callum Bay in fifth place. Steph Wadlow is in sixth. Bradley Ray runs in seventh place when he can make it here, of course, when he's not on Red Bull rookie duty. Elliot Lodge in eighth. Andy Reid already in ninth place after running a little part of the season, and Taz Taylor in 10th. And that means we await the top three boys coming onto the rostrum to enjoy a little bit, and there's plenty of chattering going on here, isn't there, and discussing what was going on, because Joe Irving, of course, had a couple of big moments there and led the race early on after an absolutely electrifying start. So it'll be Joe Irving who will be the first lad out there. These are the boys who've... this is the 125 GP guys. You can see they're already running out of... He's a bit disappointed with that, isn't he, Andy Reid? He ran out of champagne rather quickly. And there's Tom Kahn on the right-hand side, Hobson on the left. Tom Kahn, who leads the championship, very likeable lad from up in Lancashire. And a great ride by Andy Reid. So he actually steps on top of the box as the 125 GP front runner, but then he'll be second to that young man in the immaculate WD-40 leathers, who is so highly thought of in the WD-40 awning by all the guys involved there, including Jeff Crust, who used to be a mechanic to none other than Wayne Rainey, as well as running Kenny Roberts' Yamaha 500 Grand Prix team in the late 90s and working with such astonishing legends as Jean-Michel Bale. So first, we get the Moto3 podium. And we get Hobson in third place, incidentally, the little fellow who first stepped onto the rostrum, who finished 13th overall in the race. Second place for Joe Irving on the left of picture there. And then the winner of the Moto3 category and of the race overall, WT40's Joe Irving. Or even Joe Francis. I won't get me Joes mixed up eventually. He finished second at Cadwell last year. He likes this place, and he's gone one better in the narrowest of finishes. Sam Lowes, the leader of the World Super Sport Championship, here to support his twin brother Alex. He gets a cheer from the crowd as he presents the trophies to the winners. And this kid, Joe Francis, 15-year-old, lives in Chester. And he's actually won a championship in 3 races in succession, in 09, 2010, and the Aprilia Super Team Thunder Sport Championship in 2011. Finished 5th in the Motostar Championship last year. So big things expected of this kid. A brilliant, brilliant race to cap off the day's entertainment.
So there we go then, 200ths of a second separated Andy Reid and Joe Francis across the line. Just what we've come to expect from the pair of them in the Monster Energy Motostar British Championship race. Great